Beautiful. Well, let's get started here. Since we are all here, and those who are not here, some will be still coming in. And what we always do is to start going into our hearts and to create coherence.
Right.
So maybe you just want to acknowledge you're here and you want to take a deep breath.
Oh, we're doing a meditation.
And feel the air flow through your chest. Just imagine that air flows through your chest. And just breathe a little deeper than you would normally do. And when you feel the air flow, you bring more awareness to your heart. And while you're breathing this way, maybe you can feel some ease. We're here with people from all continents, all having the same desire, the same intention to connect. And just feel that connection in your heart when you breathe. Just know that we're not separate. When you get busy in your head because you've been doing things or whatever it is going on in your life, maybe just visualize descending back into your chest and take a breath and feel that air flow. This is how we create a very coherent field environment in our body. But also realize that we live in a time that probably has never been this way before on this planet. And we know that when we shift our intention, we move into care and compassion and understanding and love. And we feel that in our hearts. We literally contribute to the field, the quality of the field. We talked about it last time, toroidal field.
Can you just give us a thumbs up if the sound is okay? Is everybody here?
Okay, thank you. Just stay with your breath for just a little bit longer. Still some more people coming on board, which we're very grateful for.
And it's a special shout out to each one of you, but we also have Vivian Blair from Mexico, and she was inspired to start her 21 days of coherence. And she's done 3, I believe 2 or 3 now back to back. And she is on with several of the people from her group. And so we're gaining momentum, and we're working with Vivian actually to produce a Spanish version, which is very exciting for us. So for all of our training and our programming and here today. So very special thank you, Vivian, for all that you do and the people that you've collected here and brought today, and welcome. There's people from, you know, we've got Austria on and Australia, and yeah, so welcome everybody.
So we just took a deep breath, and what means is that we are connecting to our hearts, but we're also connecting to the field. And for maybe some of you, that might sound still a little esoteric, maybe not, but our contribution is needed much more than ever. This is a time, what I said before, that might not come back again, which is very, very important. So many people are looking forward to go back to normal, which is part of probably our filter, because we want to go back into that same feeling, but it will never go back to the same state, which can be a very good thing. Because all of you here, that's one thing I know for sure, is that you want, you know, all the best, all the goodness, all the love and compassion for all the people on the planet, for everyone. And we haven't been very good at that over the last couple of hundred of years. And this is why we're shifting into a whole new state. But it's really important that we hold this in our hearts and we keep feeding the field in a very compassionate way. Just by seeing it and feeling it, that's enough. You don't have to do anything else for that, for now. Maybe you want to start it out a little bit with the filters.
Yeah, so our topic today, we've had many topics over the last 7 weeks. We've talked about coherence, we've talked about the toroidal field, the connection. The human filters is one that's really interesting because we are literally here from all over the world. Peru, Guatemala, Mexico City, Venezuela, Australia, Canada, the US, and we all have a perspective based on how we've been raised, where we've been raised. And these perspectives and filters really dictate, you know, how we react and walk through life. And so I remember growing up, there was a saying, you know, are you going through life with rose-colored sunglasses? And, you know, what's your soundtrack? And, you know, how are you kind of walking through life and meeting the world? And we know when we come from a place of coherence, we might see things a little bit differently, but we still have the old stories and the programs from teachers and coaches, parents, siblings, friends, and also in this day and age, social media, big time. So we know that there's a trend even in the algorithms. We see what we want to see. We are with like-minded people many times online based on the algorithms. And so we have a hard time seeing outside of our own box often. So Coherence Hotspot is beautiful in that respect because we've found all of you who have come together to see us on Sundays and be with one another and join our breakout rooms and connect. And the perspectives are so wide and varying, and it's so beautiful. We have a short video actually that speaks to how you see the world based on where you come from, and also based on the different inputs that we have. So the music we choose to listen to, the people we choose to spend our time with, if we choose to watch the news or other programs. And so it's a very short video and I love it. We've had it in our heart math training for years and it's so impactful. And so what we're gonna do is we'll start it. And right after it's over, we're gonna go straight into the breakout rooms. Today we have until 11:30 or shortly after. We have our mini online program today that's starting up. We sold out. So that's starting just before noon. So we're gonna have less than an hour today. We'll have just over a half an hour probably.
By the way, there's one spot left.
Oh, there
So
is.
in case you want to sign that up, you could,
Yeah.
but just you should let us know.
Okay. And so just sit back and watch this video. We don't want to give it too much of an intro. Just see where you're at and see how it lands. See where it lands. And then we'll go straight into a breakout room, and you can just share how that felt to watch that video, what it evoked in you. And then we'll all come back together again and share it in the chat. So maybe just while you're watching it, you can go to your breath and just see how you're feeling. So.
See how you feel. You hear this.
So we're gonna just organize a random breakout room now. Some of you may have seen that before, but most maybe not. And just share what you notice. I'm interested to see. We'll probably pop in and out of all the different rooms. And then we'll all come back together again and share and close out with our breath. Lots of people.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. So you can, if you want, you can unmute yourself. We just happen to show up in this room.
So just a brief share of how it felt to watch the video, and yeah, go ahead.
Anyone?
Well, I'll start. Good morning. My name is Monique, and I live in Kelowna, BC. When you watch that video through that first music, it feels very stressful and chaotic and fearful, anxious. And then when suddenly the music switches, the same scenes become different. Like, it's hard to believe it's even the same scenes. You just feel calm and you feel like it's okay, and kind of an optimistic lens that you're viewing the same scenes from. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we're listening. Yes.
Yeah, so the state that you're in emotionally really affects the way that you view things.
Yeah.
And music can quickly, I mean, I use this every day. I do 5 things when I get up in the morning, and one of them is putting on music that matches the mood that I'm in. Well, depending on the mood, because I'm trying to elevate my mood. But if I'm in a really energetic mood, I'll put on fast song, and if it's like kind of a slower mood, it'll be classical music or something. And I like the way that starts my day on a positive note.
Beautiful. It's perfect. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to hop out of this room and just pop into the other one. So please, everyone, go ahead and share.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Interesting.
I missed you guys.
Hey, good to see you, Mike.
Flying by, we had no really recognition what is all around, because we are just racing through time with very little observation, probably because we are just chased by something, it seems. While this happening, and that was also the music. It was more, I think, mindful. I'm not sure.
When the music changed, that's what I was noticing. Because at first it was a very active kind of almost dissonant type music. And then with Paco Bell's canon, it took a whole different, I looked at it differently. I looked at what I was seeing from a different sense. It just made a big difference to have that different music, but very, very powerful. I agree. Very powerful.
I felt a lot of overwhelm emotions come up. I found it very fast and rapid, and a lot of different images, too many images for me. That's how I felt.
I have had that experience in Egypt more than once. And I've also had that experience this past week because now I've become aware of it. So I'm working with my perception on things as I walk and meet people on the KVR. And depending on my perception of who is coming or how I'm feeling inside, they respond to me differently when I'm very conscious of using my math coherence as I approach them, or really lifting up my vibration. And the number of people that look up and speak and talk is depending on where I'm at with my mindset. And I had called you in, Dirk, because I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get my photo up here.
That's okay. What you shared is perfect, and we're all listening. I think sometimes when we don't see the image, we listen even harder, if that's possible. It's amazing, though. Has everybody in this room shared?
Yes.
Yeah. So each of you have said is so perfect, because it really does matter how you're feeling, and it really does matter whether or not you're coming from your heart when you're walking on the KVR, and how people approach you. And that's that field that we spoke about on our last webinar, was, you know, the toroidal field, and what we're feeding the field and what we're putting out there, but also what we're bringing in. And so when those of us around us have that dissonance or have that fear or are amped up, we also feel that from them. But just even like a 30-second film clip with music can invoke that inside of us, either, you know, a fear or stress response, or something more organized and melodic and in flow and coherent. You know, I mean, music is a huge tool. That's why they use it.
My television has it has several music channels, and so you can get just about any kind, but mine is, right now I've still got it on, and it's on soundscapes. So I get everything from Indian music to, and I'll hear chanting sometimes, or else just real kind of a flowing, as you say, type music. But to me, it's very good background music to have, you know, in the house. Kay, where are you at? Are you in a city?
I'm in Summerland, BC.
Okay.
Yes, and my first experience, a personal experience, was in Egypt. I was with a spiritual group, and we were in a bus going from point A to point B, and worked on the Course in Miracles. This was before I knew about heart math. And we were all so in the zone that I'm looking out the window, and if you've ever been to Egypt, I mean, they drive on all sides of the road and then work their bikes around cars, and then the sheep herder or the goat herder comes through with his crop. And then I'm looking off to the side and see this gully a very deep ditch and see two boys sitting there eating and thinking, oh my gosh, look at, they're having a picnic on the bank of this, gully. And then all of a sudden my mind flipped and I looked because somebody said, oh my gosh, look at that. And I realized they were two young boys who were sitting on top of a garbage dump and had dug into the, garbage and found something to eat. So that was my first experience of having my mind just flip, like that box you can put up on the blackboard and have it look like the opening is from a different, direction. So that was my first experience of that years ago. And from then on, have been really noticing how my presence and my vibration can really look out my eyes and see something different.
Yes, it's perfect. It's a perfect story, and the awareness is where we start. So we're not always aware that these reactions are happening in our system. And then when we're aware and we like, oh my goodness, this is affecting me, that's when we have opportunity to be able to go into our breath and actually settle our system on a physiological level. And it's not something that we need to do in a meditation. Meditations are fantastic, but this is something we can do in real time with our eyes open while we're meeting the world. And this is why it's so beautiful and so powerful, this technique. So we're gonna go back into the main room. Everyone's gonna be collecting back in together. And
yeah, sometimes there's a timer on.
there we go. We were muted. We're having technical difficulties today. That's okay, we're chill. So yeah, as we're all coming back into the main room, if you would like to share in the chat what that felt like. So how different was the first part of that little short clip to the second part based on what you heard, what you felt? Yeah, so if you can drop that into chat, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
We were just in two rooms and, we heard, hey, I feel this incredible shift just by changing the soundtrack. Somebody said, well, it was too busy for me. But maybe there's also a shift that you feel from the music. And the question is, of course, and this is one of our filters, what is the soundtrack that you play most of the day? What do you play in the background? Because it affects how you see the world. And that's a huge one. This is one of our filters. And next week, we get more into this. This was just a start. And this whole webinar is a little shorter this week and next week because we also have our mini course. It is so interesting. If we shift the way we play the soundtrack in the background, whatever filter that is, and that's where we get deeper into in the next mini course, we see the world differently. People experience us differently. And this is how our vibration to the entire planet changes. This is how we see everything differently.
This is beautiful. I mean, there's so many beautiful chats coming in, and the music influenced the way I was seeing the world. The first one was stressful, but the second one was like a dance. And that's just it. It's the same movements. It's the same thing happening, but it's how it's framed, how we see it, how we hear it. and how we respond to it. So thank you all so much for joining us today. This is, like Dirk said, this is just a little bite-sized piece of awareness as to what our environments are doing, how it affects us, our human filters, how we grew up. And it will be really nice. Again, we're going to go back into our breath and spend another couple of minutes just being together here and connecting.
So we're so connected, even if you cannot hug each other, you cannot shake hands. But just take a breath and feel that connectedness with your heart space when you breathe. This is when we bring order or coherence into our system. This is how we contribute to the world. And maybe you can feel care and compassion for everyone on the planet who is just doing his or her best with his or her own filters, just to make the best out of this. And breathe through that compassion that you can feel. We all want to live in this beautiful planet. Where you can feel that in your heart when you breathe. You can feel the connection with one another. Maybe see if you can anchor this feeling, hold on to this feeling in your chest for just a little longer than just this half hour. Carry it through the rest of your day. We're so looking for the ones who have signed up for the mini course. We see you in about 20 minutes or more. The other people, I hope, well, we hope that we'll see you next week. We continue with the filters. All these little bite-sized pieces, as Hillary would call it, they're important, and we're so grateful for you to show up. Not because it makes us feel so great, but the world, humanity needs us, especially this time.
And I love that some of you are in your homes, somebody's in their car. We can just see little thumbnails and pictures of all of your faces. And so you're all joining us from wherever you were at 11 o'clock, which is epic. I love that you guys make the effort to come on and do this. And so again, thank you so much. And if you want to unmute yourself.
No, I do that.
Oh, Dirk will unmute everybody. And
yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Everybody. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sunday.
Bye,
Lisa,
bye.
good to see you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
To
much.
meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting
Luego. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
you.
Nice to see your face, Lisa.
Beautiful.